Reverb holds the power to take your mix from sounding dead to alive, but it also comes with the risk of making your mix unintelligible and frustrating to the listener. Now the good news is there's a few simple techniques you can employ to harness all the benefits of reverb while protecting your mix from becoming unclear. This video is brought to you by Behringer X32 Mastery, the fastest way for church sound techs to master the X32. And with a team license, you can enroll unlimited team members now and in the future. Finally, everyone will be on the same page. Visit x32.church or click the link in the description to learn more. There's a golden rule when it comes to mixing reverb. Turn it up until you can hear it and then dial it back until it blends in with the mix. In other words, you should definitely notice when it's missing, but not necessarily notice that it's there. Of course, there are a few exceptions to this rule. In some songs, you may actually want to hear the reverb. For example, when we sing Miracles by Jesus Culture, I prefer the reverb on the lead vocal to be a bit above the blending in spot to give it more space and depth. Now in high energy songs, you may want less reverb. For example, when we sing Limitless by Planet Shakers, the lead vocal sounds best with only enough reverb to keep the vocal from sounding super dry. Too much reverb on a lead vocal in a song like this makes the fast moving lyrics hard to understand. Now that you know how to mix reverb, let's talk about 3 different reverbs you should be using when it comes to church sound. Now the first reverb is a plate reverb for vocals. When it comes to live sound at church, plate reverb works the best for vocals. It's bright, it's clean, and it has a little bit of a sparkle, which adds brilliance to the vocals. The 2 things you want to dial in on this reverb are decay and pre-delay. Decay determines how long the reverb lasts, so I generally set this about 3 to 4 seconds, which leaves a nice, beautiful trail of reverb. This works especially well on ballads, but you may want a shorter decay time on high energy songs. Now pre-delay, it keeps the reverb off of the first part of the sound. So setting this to around 150 milliseconds will keep the vocal attacks or the beginning of words nice and clear and help eliminate harsh S's and T's. Another setting you may want to use is the high cut, which takes the high frequencies out of the reverb. I recommend starting with this as high as it'll go. Then, if you have problems with the S's and the T's coming across too harsh, dial it back to about 5 kilohertz. Alright, the second reverb is a hall reverb for instruments. Hall reverb is beautiful, but it sounds a little bit more dull compared to a plate reverb, which makes it a good option for instruments. Giving instruments a different reverb than the vocals will help keep separation between the two and the vocals clean and clear. Decay is the setting you want to focus on with this reverb, and I generally set it between 2 and 3 seconds, but don't be afraid to experiment. Keep in mind, many instrumentalists dial in their own reverb. For example, electric guitarists use pedals for reverb, and keyboards may use something like Mainstage, or maybe they even have built-in reverb on their keyboard. So only add reverb if they still sound too dry, or you're struggling to get them to blend. Now on a side note, there are certain times when you may want to use plate and hall reverb on vocals. For example, if you have a ballad where the vocal should occupy lots of space, adding hall reverb with the plate reverb will add space to the warm frequencies. Alright, the third reverb is drum reverb. Most reverb processors have a setting for drums. If a drum preset is not available, a small to medium bright room would be a good choice. Add this reverb to your snare, your toms, and the overhead microphones. The kick drum should remain dry unless you're using reverb for some kind of special effect. Use the golden rule by turning it up until you can hear it and then dialing it back down to where it blends in with the mix. Now one final tip I have for you is don't forget the kill switch for vocal reverb. If you're not used to using reverb on vocals, one issue you'll run into is reverb being on a vocal who starts talking into the microphone. You need to be ready to cut reverb in these moments because reverb on a talking mic is extremely frustrating to the listener. Find a way to designate a kill switch to vocal reverbs. For example, on the X32, you can assign a mute group to the FX buses that control the vocal reverb. If you're using the Behringer X32 or the Midas M32, I have a bonus for you. Download a cheat sheet for how to set up these 3 reverbs using built-in presets by clicking the link in the description. If you have questions, drop them in the comments. I'd be glad to answer. And if you'd like to see more videos like this, give me a thumbs up to let me know. And if you haven't already, be sure to subscribe to our channel and ring the little bell so we can let you know when a new video comes out. I'll see you next time.